Leena, welcome to the Commerce Talks podcast. Today, another episode about the e-commerce industry in GCC. So many people have told you it's like we should be very, very honored having you on the show because you're regularly a guest on different keynote stages in the region, sharing the story of your business. But please tell us, who are you and what are you exactly doing with Mumzworld?
Hi, Alex. So who am I? So I'm really at the basic, a mom of 3 children, a very, very close in age. And I struggled as a parent, just changing from a career woman to a mother. And I had a lot of very lows and very difficult days in the first 6 months of being a mom. And I continued to struggle. You know, fast forward, I had the opportunity to be part of launching Mumzworld and delivering this amazing solution to all the moms in the region, having moved to the Middle East in 2008 and seeing that being a mom in London is really hard. Being a mom in the Middle East with no English is even impossible. So delivering that platform that had information in Arabic, product to a very, very product-hungry region and the community, so moms don't feel as lonely and don't find it as hard as I did when I became a mom. So just bringing those 2 elements of my life have made sure that I had a very, very rich experience, you know, starting up Mumzworld and trying to be a mom at the same time to these 3 now teenagers who I love dearly, but I think they fired me for the next 2 to 3 years till they go to university.
Yeah. Okay, and how was it? Like you founded like it in 2011. How was the e-commerce industry?
Yes.
So because like all the e-commerce businesses founded in London or Berlin in 2011, they were like embedded in a very, very vivid ecosystem. So lots of online marketing competences were around, technology was available, warehouses you could rent. So what was it in Dubai in 2011?
So we actually launched regionally. We launched in 6 countries within a year. And we launched our Arabic within a few months of launching our English version. But what we found is, one, the understanding of the need of the market, although a lot of our consumers were on Amazon, we're buying globally, we're doing shop and ship, the understanding in the market that e-commerce is here to stay wasn't there. So partners weren't ready to partner, suppliers didn't want to work with us. Deliveries, like last mile delivery companies, were still doing parcels and doing letters. And, you know, for them, delivering a credit card was a lot more lucrative than a parcel, so you had to explain, you almost like had to run workshops to explain to people why they need to provide you with a service. And many of the services that we use, we built it with our partners. And we continue to do that. So a lot of the routes that we use, a lot of the type of service we use for our consumer, we're building it with the partner, whether they're a, delivery partner or a product partner or even a marketing partner. Because in the early days, online marketing solutions in the region were non-existent. You had to advertise in forums, which weren't very reliable. And our reputation is at the core of what we do. And where we appear is very important because moms need to trust someone when they're going through this very, very difficult journey. And we are that trusted go-to platform. So making sure that we're advertised and communicated in a very streamlined way was very important. But in the early days, the only thing you could find in Arabic was forums that were not reliable. So these were the mommy communities. The only way you could get things delivered is trying to convince the big players to move away from delivering credit cards and documents to parcels. And yet not all the routes were available. COD was something that was very badly done. COD is very prevalent in the region. So the service for COD was almost non-existent. So we had to design a lot of that with our suppliers. And I remember there is a supplier who continuously apologizes still today that when he first met us, he didn't take us seriously. And now we're a very big part of his business.
Okay. And can you tell us a bit more about the competitive landscape and how it changed? Because I remember like in the early 2010s in Europe, there have been like a lot of baby stores opened up, like in Berlin. Tausendkind, I think, was started like with the goal to become like a European leader in this area, very similar like to Mumzworld. And just yesterday, there was an announcement of like one of the biggest toy retailers in the DACH region just went bankrupt because they somehow lost the game against Amazon. So nobody was really able to grab enough market share in their niche to really be like the number one go-to site when it comes to mom's articles. So how was this changing, or how was the picture in the GCC region?
So in the early days, it wasn't the consumer we're trying to convince, it was more the ecosystem. And now it's a little bit more crowded, but still the consumer is overwhelmed with information. There's way too much product, way too much information out there. And being a vertical that's specialized and really focused on delivering a very clear message, a very trusted message, continues to be something people want. There is a lot of very successful verticals in Europe that are doing amazing. The question is, are they able to build a financial model that sustains them? And just in Europe, I think that's becoming more and more difficult because it's becoming more expensive to operate as a business. So it's not only online retailers or baby retailers that are struggling in Europe, but in general, I think all retailers, there's a lot of bankruptcies. A lot of the UK high street, I'm very familiar with the UK high street, has disappeared. Some of my favorite names growing up are no longer in existence. So I think it's more of an economical issue for Europe and the US, but I think it's still a great place to work. The Middle East is a very attractive place to work, a great place to set up your business, and there's still opportunity. And we are really seeing that. And the consumer in the Middle East is very digital. They love their devices, and people have more than one device. And most online commerce, whether it's social commerce or e-commerce, it's part and parcel of everybody's daily life. So we see that we are streamlining the experience for the mom and giving her that trust she needs, whereas horizontals can't do that. Because in a horizontal, you're overwhelmed with the choices and you don't know which one to trust. And that will always be the case. And you see that also that in skincare and things that are very particular that really touch the consumer, people want a vertical, specialized experience rather than a very generalistic experience.
What do you think is the market share of in your segment when it comes to or what is the channel share for your segment, online versus offline? So is it like above 25% already? Mom's article bought online versus offline, or it's still like a retail dominated area?
So we, just to kind of take your question and focus it on Mumzworld, we play in about 12 categories, going from home, toys, outdoor, all the way to bottle feeding. And if you look globally, there are some, in the baby industry, there are some of these categories that are at 60%, which is amazing. And then there are others, like apparel, where people still want to go and shop offline. So if you take an average, I would say we're at the 25% mark. But the heavier items that consumers absolutely do not want to carry home, the numbers are in the high 50s.
And is there like a big difference between your core markets are UAE and Saudi, if I understand correctly? So is there like a big difference in the different regions? So it's like the adoption rate in Kuwait very different from Saudi versus Dubai?
The type of consumer is different from Dubai because Dubai is a very international hub. So Dubai is not a representation of the region because it's dominated by people from all walks of life. We have a big Asian representation, a big European representation, even a big African representation. But in the rest of the GCC, it's dominated by locals who are Kuwaitis, Saudis. Their first language is in Arabic. So their behavior online is very different to an expat, and the brands they recognize are also very different. So we need to accommodate for that. And you can see the behavior. Some of the very trusted brands in Scandinavia are loved in Europe, in Dubai, but they're not as well known in the rest of the GCC. And it really depends on the brand positioning in that Arabic-speaking market.
And where do the other brands come from? So obviously, I'm from the northern part of Germany and know all these Scandinavian brands. I was really happy to get rid of all the stuff like when the kids were old enough, to be very honest. But everybody has like this stocked shares, for example, which I think you will find like in 50% of all European households with kids. So where are like the other popular brands are coming like from the region, or is it like more international brands from France? So what kind of brands are popular?
So that's really it. I mean, the stocky chair is going to really help me explain my point. So I had a stocky chair. I had 3 kids and it stayed with me till my baby was 12 and it lasted. And the reason I bought it was I wanted one that will live with me throughout all of my children. And actually it moved with me in 4 countries. So fantastic product, expensive product, and needs a lot of marketing to explain to the consumer why you want that investment. So this notion that I'm going to hand down or keep an item through generations so this concept is not there yet. And you see it in a lot of the greater Asia, like keeping items from one generation to another is not part of the culture. Whereas in Europe, there's a big part of the culture where, I still have the items my mom gave me. People like to keep heirloom, but not in the region and certainly not in India. And I don't see that in China either. So then the choice of product is different. So you're not buying the product because it's going to last. You buy it either because it's an innovation, the price is right, and you trust the name somehow. So you open yourself up to a bigger basket of products coming from New Zealand or the US or China because your criteria is different. Whereas all Scandinavian brands lead with quality.
Okay. And how like can you share some numbers about your business? I know you've sold the business to the Tamer Group. I don't recall the name 100% like in 2021, but is there like any official numbers you can share with us?
So just to recap on that, we did sell our business to the largest pharmaceutical business in the region. And they're a very forward-thinking group that basically are looking at how retail is transforming in the region and how consumers are going to access products. And one of the key things they're trying to solve for is availability, because we remain a region that has an availability issue. I don't understand how, because we have some of the best ports and airports in the world, but they are out to solve that problem. Just in terms of data, I mean, our holding company is a $2.5 billion company with access to every single, let's just say, person in Saudi, because they supply 30% of all the medicines in Saudi. Mumzworld, if you look closely at Mumzworld itself, we reach 3 million mums in the region, predominantly Arabic speakers. And most of our moms are spending quite a large amount. So our basket size are, depending on the country, between $100 to $150. Which by global standards, that's pretty strong. And the region, people have more kids here. People are very generous in terms of what they spend for their kids because, the children are the center of the family. And it's an affluent society.
And how what is the average like kids per how many kids per family do you have? Like in Europe, we are like dropping below 1.5 or so. I think. What is the number in the region?
I think the average is close to 2.
Okay.
It's actually dropping as well. But I'm seeing a reverse in the UK. So I'm seeing that people are moving back to 3-kid families. Maybe in the big cities they are. So there's a lot of people moving back. And I think the number stabilized in the UK. And I believe that it will stabilize in the Middle East. So I think that there is a trend, a downward trend at the moment. But I think we will see a stabilization. Because if you look at the culture and how people plan, the whole community still plans around children. It's not as individualistic as the rest of the world.
The businesses I know from Europe in your category, they always faced the challenge that they had like determined customer lifetime span, because obviously when the kid is like from 0 to 10, you have like a very intense like buying behavior, but after that it was hard for them or hard for the e-commerce businesses to retain somehow a relationship, because obviously your assortment is not relevant anymore when you're becoming like a teenager. Have you solved this problem or this challenge, or is it not relevant yet?
So if I compare myself to some of the leaders in Germany and then in the US, the difference we do is we really focus on assortment. So I think we talk about that our assortment is the biggest in the world in mother, baby, and child. So we're at 300,000 SKUs. We have an assortment that spans the leading brands in New Zealand, in Australia, in China, in Europe, So we are really, really looking. One, we lead with innovation. We're always looking for the next big idea. We're not limiting our SKU size. So we're not saying, oh, only 20,000 SKUs. And a lot of what we do is this looking at the stages of a mother's life and growing with her. Yes, we are very strong during the pregnancy, the birth, and the first 2 years. But we do grow our assortment to grow with the mom. And we have a lot of initiatives basically to allow us to grow with the mom. But one of the things, I think one of the points just to add there that's interesting is a lot of non-parents use us. And one of the things that I found really interesting when I interviewed them, like, why are you using Mumzworld? Basically, people said, because our skincare range is so big, and this is something we focus on, and they trust baby skincare because, for example, they're air hostesses or they have sensitive skin. And they're like, we know that if we come here and we buy the products that you put for babies, our skin will be safe as well. So because the assortment is so big, it's solving problems. Those problems could be shared for people who are parents and people who are not parents.
And when you're still CCO, when you're looking forward and trying to think about, okay, what is the next level of scale? There's from my point of view, there's two options to go. Obviously, you can even go broader on the assortment side and get another 300,000, moving into more marketplace business model. Maybe we can talk about the business model itself in a bit. And then the other version, obviously, is to break out new domains and starting the airhostessskincare.com, whatever domain, and put 2,000 skincare products in there. And then you can start your little niches. This was a strategy very popular 5, 6, 7 years ago. So, but with 300,000 SKUs, obviously there's enough room to build more specialized niches, I would say. How do you think about that?
Spot on. I mean, I think what you didn't touch on is basically the country expansion. So expanding into other geographies. So you have the product expansion, the specialization, and then the country expansion. We're actively looking all three. We do the vertical expansion all the time. So we look at consumer behavior, consumer searches, what people are looking for, what people come to us, and we become better at it. So we become the go-to in that vertical. So even if it's cleaning your nose, if you need to clean a baby's nose, there should be only one place you go to find what you need, and it should be Mumzworld. And I'm using that very specific example because that's how granular we go. So we look at every single problem you have and we try to solve it. And we want to have the widest range at the biggest price point for you to be able to solve your problem. And every year we pick 10 or 20 that we focus on. Some are small and some are very big. And this year, hopefully, we'll have a very big announcement in terms of a vertical we're launching. The other thing we do is country expansion, and we do that. We do smaller countries. We're about to also launch in some of the larger Middle Eastern countries, and that's another avenue of expansion. Expanding the SKUs is just part of what we do.
And a vertical launch, just for understanding it right, vertical launch means a new product vertical on the existing website, so within the domain space, or does vertical launch mean new website, new domain?
So historically, when 12 months ago, we launched Home on the same domain. And now Home is a big part of what we do. I mean, Home is not core to mother, baby, and child, but we've added it on because of what we saw in consumer behavior. Going forward, no, we're going to launch domains that are, stand up on their own 2 feet and they have their own customer page. I think one of the things that we found we're very good at is finding the consumer journey and designing an experience for that consumer journey. So basically saying, okay, we're going to address a different consumer journey than the mother is something that we believe we can do very well because we understand how to look at that data and break down their experience and give them products they need and an experience they need for that journey.
Okay, and the expansion in your country. So first, when I read about your business, I thought, okay, you were a first mover. You were obviously and expanded very quickly into new countries. Now, for me, it seems like e-commerce, even on a global scale, it seems to be saturated somehow. That the old days growth tactics don't work anymore. So even if you go to, I don't know, let's say MENA region, Egypt, so it could be a country for your expansion plans, there must be many e-commerce businesses already trying to tackle this niche. Do you experience this very different? So is my view like wrong?
So I wish I could say, yes, it's really crowded and, the consumer can find everything they need. But unfortunately, we still regionally have a very big supply chain problem. And the more specialized your needs are, the less you have in terms of choice. So we were actually counting number of strollers available in Egypt. It's shocking. It's very shocking.
What number was the result you came up with?
Something less than 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like an Egypt mom today does not have like the same kind of product supply like a mom in Dubai.
Yeah. I mean, not even, I think even in some countries that you would think that doesn't have such a great supply chain, they have a better supply chain. Some of the Middle Eastern countries, you have to remember, we had the Arab Spring, and then we had a lot of political unrest. And so a lot of these countries are building up after. So we're still building.
Fair.
We're not in a mature economy stage, which is the rest of the world.
Okay, got it. And then I understand like vertical expansion, geographically expansion, product range expansion. What about like the business model expansion, moving away from the standard retail business model where you are kind of owning all inventory risk, like buy all the stocker inventory you need, put it into your warehouses, and your product margin is actually kind of what drives your the business result, into a more marketplace model where you say, okay, dear stocker manager, I can sell whatever you want. It's just like I give you like the template, the front end, and I charge like Amazon like 20% of every sale, and you just give me some money for driving your marketing campaigns, which seems to be like the model all the big retailers are moving into because of the success of Amazon.
So we actually launched with that. So although you cannot see that we're a marketplace, we don't stock all our SKUs. There's no way we can, we're not Amazon. We're not going to have 300,000 SKUs sitting in our warehouse. So we do apply multiple models. So, we do, delivered by Amazon, the whole consignment idea. We definitely have a marketplace and we do our own stock. So we do everything. But the idea is the model varies depending on the service level we want to deliver to the consumer. So we always measure the performance. Like if this marketplace model is delivering a bad service for the consumer because it's not delivering in time, we are represented and the trust in the brand is impacted. So therefore we will switch it to another model to improve the customer experience. Either, for the season, if it's Christmas, we'll switch the toy suppliers to in stock just because we want the consumer to have a better experience. Because at the end of the day, people don't come to us only for availability, which they come to Amazon for. People come to us for trust and a streamlined experience because they don't want a headache.
But this leads also to a setup where you cannot allow third-party vendors from, let's say, China to just list products, which is the case in Amazon and not Shein, but Alibaba, because there's no quality gateway within the Amazon marketplace. And I understand, so every product you are selling, there was kind of a quality assurance process where people kind of touched the product, tested it, get like all the security material about the product. That is part of your business still.
Yeah, and even if, we do have sellers out of China, but we do have a gateway in China that checks. So we don't onboard you as a business. We check your product, and it's kind of what you said, but that doesn't stop us from sourcing globally. So we are sourcing from everywhere, and we're sourcing just in time from multiple geographies.
What we also hearing from many retailers is that they are moving away from very, very aggressive online marketing tactics, winning new customers or spending lots of money on Facebook, Instagram, Google, so whatever platform is relevant in your region, focusing more on the CRM system, trying to nurture better, trying to get more personalized emails out, creating WhatsApp group for the top 100 customers, creating VIP shopper services where people just can call, and then maybe a person comes to your home, brings you like the full stocker assortment, and then you take whatever you want. So how do you see it? Is like standard online marketing still working in your case, or do you also need to move into more CRM focused area?
Okay. Just so this doesn't become an advert for Stocky, I'm gonna switch to Bugaboo.
Yeah, go. Bugaboo is also it's okay. Bugaboo is fine. Is Bugaboo a popular brand also in the region or Dubai also?
It's like, if you talk about the top 5 brands, if you say Gucci, Chanel, in baby, it's probably one of those.
Okay.
It's the equivalent in baby.
Nice.
It's very popular and the awareness is big, but Stocky as well. And there's a couple of brands that have that awareness.
Yeah. These are the two brands that came up to my mind too when I came up with baby brands, was for Stocky and Bugaboo. But let's take the Bugaboo example.
Okay. Yeah. So hyper personalization.
As one example.
Again, we're designing a journey. So hyper personalization is really important. Yes, we are limited by the technology we have, and we're not moving as a leadership team. We're not moving as fast as we'd like. There's a lot more personalization coming. There's a new launch of some tools coming up for the consumer. But in terms of having a WhatsApp group, we've had a WhatsApp group for our consumers, I think from 2016. And the reason why we did that was because social commerce is very big in the region. So I still buy off Instagram as a person. I still go to someone who told me about someone who has an Instagram account, and I buy very specialized things like, Ramadan clothes, specialized items. I'll still do social commerce, and the consumer is very comfortable interacting with you on WhatsApp through your Instagram account and talking to a person. It's part of the social construct in this region. And the spend on social commerce is big. So we do that. But I think let's just step back from the tactical part and just look at what are the prime pillars of Mumzworld. So if you look at the prime pillars of Mumzworld, it's product, content, and community. And community is super important for us. In the early days, we didn't spend a lot of money on marketing because we didn't have money. But there was the founders' money, and then we had friends and family, and we didn't actually have a very big budget. And the way we addressed that was really going very strong on community, working with schools and nurseries, working with mothers who are trusted in the community. And we still do that. We work with hundreds of moms in the community, basically creating small hubs around them. These moms are content creators or just general trusted moms who other moms congregate around them. And we deliver our message to them through these groups. So they're like pods in the community. We build on information and support through the community group.
Oh, okay. So if social is working well, do you have then a team focusing on just social communication, like on Instagram, where some top customers and moving even further? What is then the role of the influencers of the regions? Do you have a lot of mom bloggers there, which you need to give free Bugaboos?
Yeah, I think Bugaboo do that on their own. They're really active. They love giving free Bugaboos, by the way. Not that we should advertise that, but we did a campaign with them at Burj Khalifa. That was a lot of fun, where they, you had the launch of Bugaboo with Burj Khalifa and all the influencers. Influencers are here to stay. People follow an influencer because she reflects or, highlights something in them. So they connect with her better than they do with a website or a shop. And it's all about establishing that personal connection. And motherhood is super, super lonely. And I think going back to that, if you're on your own learning in a university course where you're the only student and you have to self-teach and you have an exam every day, it's super lonely. So just having that place where you look and you see that someone figured it out and, hey, this is how they figured out my problem. It's a lovely connection. And mothers are very vulnerable and they need it. So basically giving those influencers who are good in communicating, who represent the values we represent, the information and the products that they can bring home the idea quicker to the consumer, we definitely engage in that, and we engage in that at scale.
But is it still affordable? Because the more successful influencers, they I know, or the industry I read about, they're trying to come up with their own brand. They try to create their own Stocker chair, for example, instead of being the influencer for a brand like Bugaboo or Stocker. Or the other extreme is they become super expensive. For every Instagram story, they'd like to charge $10,000 or whatever. So the return on invest obviously becomes even worse compared to the traditional auction-based channels like Facebook and Google. Do you already see or experience this in your market, or it's still kind of working for you?
So some of the most expensive influencers, I think, are Middle Eastern based. Because if you see that the usage of TikTok and Snapchat, I mean, not Instagram, is very, very big here. And they're now representing global brands. And if you look at Sephora's campaigns, global campaigns, 5 out of 10 are Middle Eastern influencers. So if you look at the billboard of Sephora, it's actually someone from the region. So they're actually, because they're commanding such high prices, I think they're having to use them in multiple geographies just to justify the amount of money they have to pay. One of the things that we find, because we're specialized and because we're serving a very particular audience, and it means a lot. You know, a mom helping a mom, when I was going through motherhood and learning all that difficult stuff, and I had the lactation consultant because I didn't know how to breastfeed, and I went into hospital, I don't know how many times, because I couldn't figure out the right milk for my daughter. It was depressing. But when I got out of it, I wanted to help other moms. And I think if you look at the community of moms, whether they're influencers or just normal moms on the street or professional women, the want to give back is very big. So being involved in a mother community is something like a cause. So we have a lot of these amazing influencers who actually work with us. Okay, they make money, but you feel like it's a cause. And when they explain a stroller or they explain a product, they're doing it because they struggle to understand it, and they understand how difficult it is for a new mom who's overwhelmed, who didn't sleep, who probably didn't eat. And they basically want to connect with her because that gives them a lot of value for themselves.
And did this also translate into more in this kind of in this model with I'm just trying to find the brand name selling it. There are like a lot of brands selling at home where you have to bring like your merchandise, and then there's a group of friends sitting around your Thermomix, whatever, and then you learn about how to use this device. And I think like because the mom community is like so active and like they trust each other, like with how to do stuff, how to breastfeed, what kind of products to use. Is this something that you have moved in or you have tried out to establish kind of this, not as a sales channel, but as a community channel, saying there's like a super mom in Dubai and she's getting like 10% discount or getting like 5% of all the revenue she pushes in her network. She's getting back, because that definitely would work in that area.
That's quite interesting. We do a lot of offline events, and today we are participating in a hospital, educating expecting moms about certain products or what's available to solve their issues. And we have a big team there. So we're participating in big events, and we invite some of those, let's say, kind of expert moms that other mothers listen to. So we have invited them to this event. But to use the mom, to use her kind of space, her personal space to do it, we have her.
Yeah, it could be like a brand. It's kind of something like a Mumzworld party. So I will host like a Mumzworld party. I'm getting all the free products. There's some discount. It's actually could be like it's kind of marketing plus sales. So I would have expected that it's something very popular in the region, but it totally makes sense.
I think what's interesting is that because. And I'm talking about this outside Dubai. Dubai is a lot of expat people who don't know each other, who make families here like out of their neighbors, and they need the connection. But if you look in the general Middle East, you know, we're not very individualistic as a society. We're very communal. People still visit their grandparents. People live near each other. Your sisters are somewhere near you. Your cousins, you probably have 25, 30 cousins. So that already happened. We just need to deliver the information in Arabic to that group of people. And the virality is there because we live like that, you know?
Yeah, but I think you can live better with a Mumzworld party brand on top. But it's like it's an outside of the box thinking.
Who doesn't like a party?
It's true. So maybe coming to the last part of the podcast. So what is your view on the region, like when it comes to like the economical situation? Because like lots of like regions in the world are kind of struggling. Many people are looking into the GCC region because it seems to be more stable. Consumer behavior seems to be more stable because obviously there's a lot of like positive effects out of this energy prices on a global level that are moving like in a positive way into the GCC region. But what is your 3, 5, 10-year gut feeling outlook for the region? Still a good place to make business here?
So, I mean, the premise for me personally was to move back to London where I grew up. But I think as I see the amazing things that are happening in the UAE and in Saudi, I'm thinking, who leaves the party right when it started? Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like this is, the Sunday Times put an article out when the Atlantis Royale opened, and they said the biggest party is in Dubai and everybody wants to be invited. And it feels like that every day. We really do feel like we are at the center of the excitement. We are center, as the UK is struggling, Europe is struggling. We feel like we are at the center of that excitement. And if the governments work as hard as they're working incredibly hard to continuously bring innovation, bring newness, and improve the economy. If they continue to work this hard, I think this will continue to be the place to be. One, geographically, we're fantastically located. Two, it's a young population, so we have the workforce.
Yeah. So that's most likely you're going to speak at this Seamless in Dubai, right? So we are all looking forward to it. So still day one when it comes to party. I think it's a good metaphor to translate from the Amazon universe. Still day one in retail. It's still day one in the region. What are the top two things you're looking forward in 2023? It's gonna happen like for Mumzworld. Like you said, there's like one vertical you want to expand in. I guess this is one of the top things you're looking forward to.
Yeah, so we'll be announcing imminently, I hope. So anything now will make a big announcement, maybe before Seamless. Let's see how we do.
But it says like so many exciting verticals left because you have home now and there's like it's kind of kids' cars or something. Is it so new somehow?
No, it's not new, but it's very aligned with what we do. So let's keep the unknown for a little bit longer. Okay. What am I excited for in 2023? I'm excited for the opening up of some of the geographies that weren't available before. So I actually believe that a lot of the geographies that weren't available before in the region because of war, because of economic instability are going to open up. And we are very, very ready to make the most of that. Because, I am a mix. So my father's Iraqi, my mom is Palestinian. I grew up in the UK. And I really do believe in this. You create a solution for human beings, for mothers, and you basically deliver it wherever you can as quickly as you can. So you increase your impact as much as you can. And unfortunately, we're not able to do that as quickly as we would like. But I believe in 2023, the opportunity to do that will be there.
Nice. Then I guess I'm looking forward to meet you on site at the Dubai event during Seamless, rewatching and rereading what you said about like Mumzworld, thinking about the Mumzworld party idea. I sent you some follow-up ideas, and thank you for your time in the Commerce Talks podcast.